We are back, we are live in sunny Austin, Texas. We're trying to keep it weird, hopefully with some North American CS. We'll see how far we do get. Our next game is CLG versus Cloud9. Indeed, the NA flag will be flying. We'll see how high, as it's going to be two North American, staples of the scene competing now. Counter Logic Gaming and Cloud9. Of course, it is a new Cloud9. And, I have to say, a new CLG, because it does look like someone left like their pink knickers in the wash while they were doing their team shirts. And now we've just got some very vibrant shirts for CLG.
I think they just got the wrong bag from the laundry. They got the CLG red shirt.
I do love it, though. Apparently, it's for Mother's Day, so they're representing.
Oh,
Isn't that
so
cute? Isn't that lovely?
Great.
I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson. I've got Yanko, Helium, and good old Launders hanging out to try and talk a little bit about this game. Of course, first of all, introductions. Gents, good to have you on the desk. This is my first desk with both of you. How you feeling, Joey?
I'm doing all right. I could have slept more, but I'm very excited to be here.
You did look a little frowny this morning, yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring it up for the desk. But it's very exciting to be here at the first DreamHack, not only for myself, but also for North America. So for a lot of people here, it's the first time, and the crowd's looking great. You guys have been loud when I was watching on stream, so I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah, Launders, you've come a little bit from further afar. You feeling good about this event?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I went backstage to look for bananas. I couldn't find any. Typically you don't run out of bananas at a gaming convention, but
we're quick on the draw for snacks. Yeah. But we do need to start talking about this game. We haven't got the buckets of time, but CLG Cloud9. Let's kind of try and set the scene for this one, because I think the first port of call has to be Cloud9 because of the recent shuffle within their roster. It's quite an interesting and actually to some people an eyebrow-raising pickup, picking up an in-game leader that has to some people not competed at the highest level. I'm going to start with you, Launders, because you were saying that you actually have quite a close connection with Slemmy and this new face of Cloud9.
Yeah, so I didn't hear about his pickup until it actually happened. I didn't get that insider info.
Okay.
But this whole season I've been asking him for tips to help me call a main while he was leading his team through playoffs and Premier. And I think I've heard from a lot of his recent or former teammates that he is a really good IGL, super underrated. He did take a long break to play poker. But coming back to CS, I think a lot of people have a lot of respect for him at the invite level. Now, they did pick up Stewie as well, who was a player out of P and now is doing fairly well in invite. But people have concerns because, why is a premier organization not picking up top-tier talent or like no-risk talent? Well, I think it's because there isn't a lot of great leadership in NA, and I think it's worth taking a risk.
Sure, it does seem like Cloud9's philosophy is very much, they quite like kind of finding the diamond in the rough, right? Even with Freakazoid, who just turned up, he was playing rugby for a bit, started playing CS again, they're like, yo, do you want to play under Cloud9? That surprised us, if you rewind the clocks. Stewie, again, perhaps, it does seem like Cloud9, whoever's going on behind the scenes, they like to mix it up. But have we seen much from Slemmy online, Helium? Have you had a little taste of what he has to offer?
I haven't really got to see him play too much. Overall, his stats, even when he was on some of the lesser teams like Obey, and then when they lost the sponsor without a roof, his stats were not without a roof, not through the roof at all. So you're definitely looking for him to perform, of course, but I think it's really going to come down to the tactics, because that's what Cloud9 was lacking the most since the departure of Sean Garris. So he's going to come down to the tactics.
And moving swiftly into their opponent, CLG, I know you've been kind of looking quite closely at them. The point you made off air, which was absolutely awesome, the fact that they are the only North American team to have not made a roster change since the major, that's, to me, mind-boggling.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can have success with the same roster, right? It's all about consistency a lot for this team, like who's going to show up on any given day, which is going to be important, especially with Fugly. You look back to the major, which wasn't all that long ago, but he had a pretty abysmal performance there at the major. He did okay at Malmo, but then again, CLG still didn't make out of the groups there. Fugly doesn't need to be the star, because Tarek can take... Tarek should take that role, but Fugly, he's got to have a certain baseline at this level of play to get them through this. And,
that's the discussion we had quite recently in Malmo, Yanko, that Tarek was recently actually being that star that we so long ago expected him to be.
Yeah, definitely he stepped up his game. It's one of the reasons why CLG has made better results recently, starting from Global eSports Cup all the way in February in Lithuania. I think that, plus JDM playing consistently well with the op, and since they added Pita, you could see that they are trying to get more depth to their game, whether it's the map pool itself or just the game on particular maps, trying to get some more strats in there to get more structure, and it's showing. They are probably the #1 contender for the title of the best North American team, barring the Brazilian teams, of course.
And you say that, and I'm sure you guys are nodding along, kind of saying, yeah, you kind of agree with that sentiment, and yet they've had some awful results recently. Like online, they're the kind of bottom of the Pro League. They've been having a lot of issues. How does a team that is regarded quite positively by a lot of the analysts, a lot of the community, and yet still have struggled to show that in results? How does that happen?
Well, I think structure isn't really the problem for CLG. Like, they have Pita, and he's brought a lot of great to the team. They've also had some impressive results versus top-tier talent, whereas, some other teams are maybe a little more inconsistent, but it seems like talent always has been a problem for CLG, right? They're a team that has never really reached into Invite and tried to pull a player from another team. They've kind of just stuck together as mouse pads. You know, they've only lost FNS, and they picked up Fugly, who's, you know, maybe a pickup similar to Stewie, where he's just up-and-coming talent. And they've never really had like a superstar player except for the one they found in Tarek. And you know, he is off and on.
So where do you stand with Fugly, the Fugly pickup? I mean, do you feel like that's the right fit for CLG?
So with Fugly, he's expected, I think, to play support on this team.
Yeah.
But from what I know about Fugly and the player that he's come up as, and you know, I know him as the puck star that used to have a troll picture on ESEA and then really just wreck everyone in pugs all day long and then get picked up by an Invite team and be a relatively quiet person. That's why he doesn't get a lot of attention, right? But he was picked up for his aim and his finesse and his flair, right? But now he's playing support on a team that maybe needs a real support player instead of a player that could potentially be a star.
Okay, so maybe just he's not in the right role right now. And I mean, we've seen instances of that before where a player who should be a shining bright just doesn't get given that opportunity. Keep your eyes on that one. But another new presence, new face-ish to Cloud9 is this Irokanji fella who has been turning up a lot. He's actually been filling in while they hunted for their 5th. Have you actually had an opportunity to see anything from what he's contributing to the team? Do you know his input?
Not really.
No. I mean, do any of you guys, do we know what this guy's delivering?
Yeah, so he's renowned for leading the legendary Manajumas from the bottom of Invite to the top of Invite back in 2013. And that was a team with Shroud, and I think that's how he ended up on the team because he has a history with Shroud. I think he was regarded as like a really cool caller who was like bringing up a whole bunch of players who maybe wouldn't have had a chance otherwise, and bringing a lot of structure and proper play to CS to a team that, you know, would otherwise need a ton of experience to be good. And I think that's why Shroud brought him on. I know he brings a lot of structure to the team. I know he's really strict and he gets angry, and that may be something that they need, right? We saw like a Cloud9 play at their best really when Sean Garrett started getting mad, right? And I think that they need a little bit more of that.
I mean, he's a seasoned player. He, in 1.6, played at the top of North American Counter-Strike. I think he was in Evil Geniuses in that lineup when nothing was there, as well as Lurpis.
Sure.
Not too sure about that one, but definitely someone who's been playing Counter-Strike and knows Counter-Strike for a long time. So definitely, I mean, the problem that Cloud9 had since the beginning of this year was they had zero leadership. It's not just that, okay, they had an in-game leader in nothing, but he was obviously struggling with it. And it's not just having someone to call in-game. You need to have a leader, authority in your team, right? Someone who's going to bring everyone up when things are tough, someone who's going to lead by example, basically. So that's why we have all these maybe, you know, weird roster changes and so on, because they are struggling to find that leadership in their team.
And it is time to actually meet the players. You can see one of the individuals we highlighted as being a strong member, backbone now of CLG. JDM has been delivering on all fronts with his AWP. It's a bit of a kind of a new development. Sometimes JDM was regarded as a rather inconsistent presence, Joey, but it seems like he's shaken that off as of late.
Yeah, he definitely has like his really, really big games. A little bit, again, going back to the major, there were certain times where he really did have to rely on his team to get him through it. But I believe it was in the CLG versus Vex match, which actually advanced them to the major. It was when JDM stepped up the most and had his big performance. And I say stepped up the most, but maybe I should say leaned back the most. Because obviously he's known for his good posture while playing Counter-Strike.
And you say good posture. I had no idea, right? Did you see the recent article that's like the best way to be sitting?
Yeah.
No
yeah,
way.
but what I wanted to say is,
I don't believe it.
Have you guys seen that Tarek doesn't bring his Turkish flag when the event is actually North America?
Yeah, he knows how to appeal to the right audience.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a bald eagle in front of his PC now.
But I mean, there's Fugly. We're talking about him, and a name that hasn't been mentioned once on this desk, Hazed. Now, where does he fit into this CLG roster? Like, what do we expect from him coming into a standard game?
I think he's one of the most fantastic players on this team when it comes to pistols. And when we get through the vetoes and some of their pistol stats, like I think he's the reason for some of that.
Dude, throw some pistol stats at me.
Well, all right, so on Mirage, which is one of CLG's best maps, they don't get to play all that often because generally it just gets banned. We'll see if it makes it all the way through, 6 bans here, but they have 75% win rate on pistols.
Is that just for Shroud because he's on
so.
screen? Shroudy getting rowdy. Sorry, you can finish your point.
That's the front page post right there, Shroud.
Hi, Reddit.
Yeah, but he's great with the entries. One time I was actually talking to Hayes backstage again at the major, and I was like, oh man, like I feel like, or actually this was the major qualifiers. Like every time I go to say Hayes isn't performing, like you just have an incredible entry frag into a round, and then he said to me, it's not my job to get all the kills, I just got to get the important ones.
Sure.
So he definitely knows his role.
And it does feel like this is a discussion I would love to actually kind of dive into, right? Like everyone is all over the power of pistols and that entire discussion there, and how winning a pistol round increases your chances. It's all about managing the economy. Slemmy getting some love from the crowd as well. That new face, I'm sure we'll get to know and love. But I just want to address this now. Like we had it on the desk just before, and how important the pistol round win. NRG was struggling to win pistols and therefore struggling to win games. And the invisible man has made the crowd erupt. He is indeed nothing. He is indeed. There he is. Jordan Gilbert himself. I cannot remember what I was trying to say now. Thanks very much, Jordan.
And economy.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this, Yanko.
Why are they so important?
Well, not why are they so important, but I mean, sure, let's start with that. Sure.
Well, it's a round that you win, and you need 16 rounds to win the game.
But it also can dictate the economy for like 10 rounds.
No, I know, of
this
course.
Is what I'm asking.
The point is that, yeah, pistol rounds obviously are really important, but the fact that people mess up anti-force by round so much kind of takes away from that. The best example is NIP in Malmo. One of probably the main reason why they were able to win that tournament is their crisp anti-force by round play. What would happen is they would maybe lose one man in those 2 rounds, would be up 3-0, and then in that game against, I think it was VP on Cash, they lose 3 gun rounds in a row. But they are still able to buy because their economy was so strong, and in the end they reset the economy of Virtus Pro, and then that's when you have basically what it allows you to do is you have much more room for mistakes. You can allow yourself to have a bad call, go to the wrong bomb site, because you'll still be able to buy and still pressure your opponents.
Oh, it looks like we are ready for the veto. I do want to kind of go into this discussion a little further, but I know, Joey, you've got a whole lot of map stats for especially CLG. So, I mean, can you maybe guide me where they're going to be looking to take this one?
Well, CLG, their most played maps are Cobble, Overpass, and Dust 2, and the overlap between CLG and Cloud9 seemed to be on Overpass and Dust 2. Another overlap was that neither of these teams really like Inferno.
Sure. But it's gone already.
Yeah, all right, so it's gone already. We had a big discussion about whether that was going to matter if they just win based off of who banned Inferno, but since it is just banning down to one map, I don't know if Inferno plays as much of a role.
Mahad, Dust 2, no Dust 2 for Cloud9,
well,
makes sense?
You know what? I was actually going to say this is a sleeper pick for Cloud9 because according to their pistol stats, which are super important when it comes to what maps they're best at, their best maps are Train and Overpass, where they win over 70% of their pistols. On Dust 2, they actually only win 35% of their pistols, but they still go positive overall. So that means they're actually extremely strong on rifle rounds, so I'm surprised to see it be a ban.
So what do we have left? We have Mirage and Cobble, the last two, as Train is taken away by C9. You're nodding, Joey. This makes sense to you?
Yeah, I think either of these maps are going to be great for both of these teams. Actually, Cobble might be better for CLG than Cloud9, but I know, Launders, you were saying you were looking at the actual results for Cloud9, and they were pretty good on Mirage recently.
Yeah, it was Mirage recently. So overall, I'd say the veto is starting to favor CLG a little bit, but...
I mean, now I'm confused, only because CLG were given the choice, and you said, Helium, that CLG rarely get to play one of their best maps, Mirage. They've just got the opportunity and turned it down. What's going on there?
Yeah, actually, another discussion we had, I think with Hayes and CLG, because we were also a little perplexed why, when they were playing Vexed, going for the rhymes here.
I like it.
Why they actually picked Cobble over Mirage. So I think it's a transition. Like, they still know they're good on Mirage, but they lost a little bit of confidence on it. And I mean, Cobble's their most played map like crazy. In the last 3 months, they played it 20 times.
Wow,
which is a lot.
That is a lot.
On Mirage, so the ban might have come about because they saw Cloud9's recent results. Even though it's not up there in terms of their win percentage isn't very good on Mirage, they lost 16-14 to Luminosity most recently, and then they 16-4'd NRG on Mirage. So it might be a map that's starting to emerge for them, and we're going to see that happen quite often. Like, their map pool might completely flip because it might have to do with what Slemmy feels best calling, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe he finds better ways to use players on different maps.
And I do kind of think this is quite an interesting point, right? Like, Slemmy has not been on that roster for long. As an in-game leader, you can't just start shaking everything up, right? He's not going to have a brand new strat book and things out. Surely Cloud9's maps are going to look quite familiar and similar. I mean, there's not too... How much can you change in a team with, like, what has he long there? How long has he been there now?
He played 10 maps.
10 maps.
So you can't change much. It's not just that, it's also the CT side, right? The positions he's playing, getting the cohesion with his teammates. I actually dislike that C9 banned Dust 2, and because they were left with Mirage and Cobble, and whatever map is played, CLG is favored on it, but they're much more favored on Cobble because it's one of their best maps right now when it comes to even playing European teams. And C9, they played it in the past, but it's something they probably would like to avoid, especially after a roster change. So, and when you have players like Shroud and Skadoodle in your team, you basically want to play an open map where they can go ham, especially Skadoodle with the AWP. So right now, after seeing this map, I heavily favor CLG to win.
Yeah,
this
just
match.
to add to that, on Cobble, we saw at the major in the groups, they played versus Envy, and they had that like insane. I don't know how bad the scoreline was, but on T side, I think it was the half ended like 8-7, and then CLG ran away with the half, didn't drop around on T side on Cobble, and it's
9-6 and then 10-0,
right.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've shown that they're pretty strong on that map. So I'm surprised, but you can never write out Cloud9 off because of Shroud and Skadoodle, right? Those players are probably among the top 5 best in North America.
Even now with Scar, did he not disappear after for quite a while?
Yeah, I think so. Recently he stepped up in online play. Obviously it's always different on LAN, but it's not that a player cannot forget how to play the game, right? You can have a drop in form, but there's always potential for him to blow up. And that might be enough to win a best of 1 game against CLG.
Okay, I mean, can we...
it's just harder to pull off on Cobble than it is on Dust 2.
That's a very good point. I mean, I do want to breach the Skadoodle topic a little further. Mahad, you've seen this guy play. Like, let's not forget, for a while, like at the peak of his play, we were sitting there going, like, this guy can compete with European AWPers.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of, that disappeared for a while.
Yeah, what we know about Skadoodle is that he's a LAN player, and that recently he had some, I don't know if I don't want to speak on his behalf and say motivation issues, but it seems like he's responded by like playing a lot. I don't know, people post stuff on Reddit all the time about hours that isn't always relevant, but overall, I think one thing that might reinvigorate him is the fact that they've got kind of like a brand new lineup of like brand new instructions as to how to play new maps, and I think maybe that's like lit a fire under him. But in their recent maps, we see Skadoodle actually step up on all the maps they win. On all the maps they lose, he's actually done badly, so there's a recurring theme there.
A vital component in Cloud9.
Exactly.
Okay, so keep your eyes on Scar, and it does feel kind of crazy that we have yet to address the man who will always be at the front page of Reddit. It is Shroud, and the power that he possesses to be this very, very explosive player. The aim, it is down to this kind of aim, this puggy style of play that he seems to thrive under. Is this a style of play that has a place in competitive CS? I can aim, but sometimes the brain isn't always there. Sometimes it is. I mean, it's a pug star, I think is the best way to describe it. Does it have a place in high-level CS, Janko?
I kind of disagree with that. I don't think that he's necessarily a pug star type of player. I think he's a very intelligent player, who's strong mechanically wise as well. It's just that he has issues translating it into pro play because things are much different than when you play pugs, matchmaking, or whatever, and they have been lost for a long time as a team, and it probably shows in individual play as well. Players are not probably confident enough, comfortable enough playing, and you could see flashes of it, but it's not consistent. One of the reasons why they were so good in the summer was the Shroud and the Ska were playing really, really well, along with solid leadership, of course, from Sean Gears. But also what we need to point out is that we actually have JDM against Skadoodle, which are probably the 2 of the strongest AWP players in North America, so that's going to be a treat.
That is going to be fun to watch. I'm sure the crowd, it already seems like the crowd is ready to go with this one, and we will be very, very shortly. You guys make a lot of noise. It's kind of crazy, but there's some proof for you that the Austin crowd already keeping it fun. But I just want to kind of approach that topic a little further. I do love that we've got two of the best AWPers compete in North America. Whew, quick addition before I get in trouble. But I mean, outside of these AWPers, these aimers, there is that backbone, that strategy side of things, and we haven't talked about this coaching role that actually has made a huge change for CLG. You're nodding instantly, Joey. You know all too well what Peter's brought to this team.
Yeah, it makes sense that you would eventually want to take the evolution, going towards traditional sports where you have the coaching role out of the game. Like, sure, you maybe got your quarterback, since we're in Texas, bring up football.
Do it.
But you got your quarterback making some plays, calling some audibles on the field, but you still have a whole coaching staff behind you, helping you read your opponents, getting you that data, and then also calling your strats or your plays during the game. And I think that's massive.
Actually, we were talking to Flaren, who we happened to be hanging out with in Austin, Janko, and you were telling me that, you were talking to him about having Peter and the power he possessed when he was coaching NIP. And what did Robin exactly have to say?
I mean, he brought an interesting point. We talked about briefly that a coach is also there as a medium between the players, right? Some of the players are more stubborn than others. They don't want to admit that they made a mistake. They can't take constructive criticism that well. So the coach is there to say how things really are, right? To point out the mistakes and say, listen, guys, I don't care what you think. This is what we need to improve on. And also when it comes to North American teams and North American players, they need to kind of be lectured on fundamentals of Counter-Strike, in a sense that fundamentals of team play, that people play too individually. They feel that they need to make everything happen.
Right.
But sometimes you just need to trust your teammates. Right? You're holding one side, you're holding one angle, they're holding the other side for you. And if you turn because you don't trust your teammate, well, then from the side that you're supposed to hold, you just get wrecked by one player. Right? They need to learn at times how to play off of each other more and not go just for individual aggressive plays.
Is there a lack of faith?
I think it mostly shows, let's say, when a player gets 2 quick kills, when he's defending a bomb site, then instead of just staying alive, because he did his job at that point, and buying time for his teammates to rotate and to secure a round, basically by doing that, he goes for the 3rd kill, dies, gives the opponent's entrance into the bomb site, and then it might be, a 50-50, a 60-40, but it could have been 100% one round. So having that presence of mind in those situations is something that's really important.
And throw that over to the North American corner. Do you think there is a bit of a lack of faith in your teammates more in North America than Europe?
Yeah, and I think PETA mentioned it at the major. He took a pause when they were down 0-7. I can't remember who they were facing, but he said that in that pause, it was basically CLG palpably getting distressed about the fact that they were down in rounds, and then everyone started making those hero individualistic plays, as you mentioned. They're tempted to do it, right? And PETA's there to stop that temptation. And it's really easy when you're out of game, just as Janko mentioned, to tell your team that you're doing something wrong, you're doing something wrong, you're doing something wrong, because you're not part of the problem. So it's much more easy because you don't individually have so much to say for yourself.
That external perspective. I mean, you are quite literally looking at all 5 screens. You can make those calls. I didn't mess up. Well, actually, you did, and I can tell you that. And that's actually something that we're going to be seeing more and more of. I think it's. I mean, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but most teams now do have that 6th man behind them. I can't think of many that don't.
Just enough to look 1 year back and see how many teams had coaches. It was maybe 3 or 4 teams who had coaches. Now it's probably between 10 and 20 teams that everyone has a coach or at least a 6th man who's standing behind them and giving some advice or at least trying to cheer the team up.
This is it, because I feel like there's so many different brands of 6th man, of coach. There's some just seem like they're taking a life coaching role, quite literally giving them regimen. You get up at this time. No, you're not going to watch Game of Thrones until 4 a.m. You're actually going to get some good sleep and be up and ready. Go for a run. Do something. I feel like some
you have
people,
a life coach.
Maybe I should have one actually, because that's exactly what I'm doing.
You should become one, Alex.
I just described my life. Yeah, get up about late afternoon after watching far too many American TV shows. But moving away from my life and back into this, I mean, I do think there's a lot of brands, a lot of different styles of coach. Some teams, they've got a presence like God B, with energy, and they don't need a heavy leadership. They just need something to kind of a regiment almost. And you may be wondering why we're waiting. It's because there's a massage going on stage. That's entirely what we're waiting for. Jordan,
when's Jordan coming to the desk to give us massages?
I'm feeling I've got a couple of knots on my shoulders. Maybe we can, delay the game further and get him over here. CLG are ready to play, by the way. Just so if in case you're wondering, it's Cloud9.
Obviously, just look at JDM.
But yeah, by the way, this is actually apparently really good for your back. You don't believe me, Joey? I'm telling you, it was somewhere on the internet, and the internet never lies.
I don't know if that's a true statement right there, but you're saying this on the internet, so I guess it has to be true.
Yeah,
right?
The internet's never wrong. But yeah, something about your spine.
That's an Abraham Lincoln quote, right?
The internet's never wrong. Yeah. No, Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
yeah.
The same, pretty much the same.
It's Slemmy's turn.
So are they all going to massage him? What is this? Never mind. But talking about the game itself, if you're going to try to find a silver lining here for Cloud9, is that it probably is going to be the CT side, because when Skadoodle, as far as I know, he plays towards the B bomb side around that fountain area with the AWP, and if they can hold the B executes from CLG, they get a good start and rack up a lot of rounds on the CT side. When you switch to the T side, yes, Cobble is kind of complex in a sense that you need to be really coordinated if you want to take A holes and then go for a fake or an A execute. But you can go for simple strats. A B rush is perfectly viable on this map, especially if the CTs lose pistol and force in the second round. That means that they don't have a lot of grenades in the first gun round, and then you can exploit that. You can go for drop challenges, and that's where we need to see how good maybe Slam is of an in-game leader to call things on the fly, whether they will get a good read on what CLG's setup is, whether they like to fight for drop, whether they like to let go of drop. Then C9 can go for an A split, which is again hard to execute. You need to be really coordinated to do it properly to get good timings on those pushes. But yeah, maybe something like that with a good start, considering it's a best of one. With both pistols, you're 6-0 up, anything can happen.
But I mean, just the word you used there was What was
I
the
used
word?
a lot of words.
I had a point to make.
The one that stood out most.
It began with a C, and it was about coordination. There we go. Good job, brain. Get in there. Jet lag, what is it? But anyway, coordination. CLG, that's kind of usually the word used towards CLG as opposed to Cloud9, right? They're one of the more coordinated teams, especially on their T side. So this is where I have to ask, that's surely not something you expect from Cloud9, especially with a new presence and in-game leader. They're going to look anything but coordinated, would be my assumption.
Yeah, I would expect for their play to look sloppy, probably in the beginning, because it's hard getting the right timings there. The communication has to be really on point. You need to be pretty much practiced in a sense. You've run that strat a lot of times. You know what's probably going to happen, so you know if you hit your timing or not. And when it comes to the other side of CLG, they've obviously been doing that a lot. They played a lot of Cobble, and that's why it's one of their best maps in the end. So from Cloud9, it's going to rely mostly on players having good individual performances, right? Shroud going towards that B platform, getting an all-off type of a round where he opens up the bomb site for his team. They need to have some of those rounds. I'm sure they will be able to win a couple of rounds, doing basic stuff, going for some executes, but they need more than that.
Okay, and while we do have some time, let's gently walk into predictions. I'll start with you, Launders. What are you thinking about this one? Not easy.
I feel like it's hard to have faith in the fact that C9 have a new lineup and that maybe Slemmy individually doesn't perform as well as any one of the members on CLG do. But I have a lot of faith that in the structure that he's going to bring, and I think he's going to slow them down a lot more. So I feel like it won't be so hard if they play defaulty to just bring out the most in individual skill. So in fewer words, I'm going to say Cloud9 take it 16-13.
Okay, belief in Cloud9. Perhaps there is a silver lining in that cloud after all. What about you, Helium?
Well, there's no team from Brazil playing right now, so I think a North American team is going to win.
Yeah,
so there's my first
Finally.
prediction.
Nice.
Can't be wrong there.
And they're going to win.
But I'm going to have to go with CLG. And I think let's go like 16-8 for CLG.
Okay.
I will be keeping my eye on once we get into the game, Cloud9 and that communication and coordination, because I think that's the most important thing that we can get from this. Is has it helped at all in the 10 games you said, Yanko, that he's had? And then going forward through this tournament, see how that progresses.
Looking forward to seeing what Slemmy can do.
Yeah.
Finally, Yanko, predictions before we jump into game.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with CLG, although it can always get... I feel that this is going to be, in the words of great Sir Scoots, a barn burner.
Nice.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to get messy, I think.
It's going to be messy.
But I feel that CLG is going to take it in the end. The only problem for them, in my opinion, might be that there's the option of them being on tilt because it's a domestic matchup. They know that they're probably the better team right now. So if they start losing some silly rounds because of mistakes, that might be what gives the edge in the end to Cloud9.
And I mean, with all of that said, Massage is done. I think nothing is actually in his seat, which means we can get underway with this best of one. It is time for our third game of DreamHack Zowie Open to begin. The crowd sounds ready. They're certainly ready for some more NACS, and we're going to go ahead and jump into Cobblestone between Counter Logic Gaming and Cloud9. Your casters, they're over there. You know them already. Let's jump into this one.
Well, the massages are done on the side of Cloud9, but will this map have a happy ending? That's the real question, Hondus.
Asking the tough questions.
Yeah, so getting into this, I'm not actually sure what side they're going to start on. What do you think would be better for Cloud9? We talked about the coordination. Do they want to start out on that terror side, kind of dictating the pace?
Yeah, I think T-side would be a really good start for them. I think they'll more than likely have a better T-side than CT side, so they probably want to go into CT side feeling good. Also, it's like first map of the day, and that's super relevant on LAN, right? Sometimes your first map, you're just not playing that well. Maybe you didn't have enough time to warm up. Maybe you're just a little bit tired, and you're not used to, or just they haven't played a LAN together. So, I think all those things result in T-side being a little bit more favorable for them because you can make more mistakes on T-side and it won't hurt your economy too bad. But if you start off losing the pistol, you lose that first rifle round on CT side, you're just in such a hole, and it can be mentally so hard to get out of. So I think the fact that they'll probably have a better T-side and that they can expect to get more rounds, I'd say T-side for sure.
All right, well, haven't quite jumped into it yet. Still panning over the players. They look very focused and ready to go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. CLG. At the CEVO Gfinity Land, we saw a lot of the maps start off just extremely dominant with quick 5-0s.
Yeah.
I think if that happens here, like either of these teams, we talked about it a little bit, and I guess the NA mindset, will anyone tilt early on?
So what I see from Cloud9 is that if they go down in rounds, I don't think they'll exactly tilt because they probably have, there's something about CLG, for example, right, where they're able to make comebacks, also able to blow huge leads. But since Cloud9 don't have that history at all, and history is yet to be written, I think that they'll have a lot of faith in the fact that there's a potential, the potential birth of a great roster about to happen. So I think that even if they go down in rounds, I don't think it'll affect them too much, especially not in one map, and especially not in their first map.
All right, and even though Cloud9 have made a lot of changes, do you have any specific map data on Cobble? Like, what side do we look for them to be a little more potent on?
I don't think the map data is going to be all that relevant.
Not
right?
relevant?
No, considering this is their first LAN together. I mean, we can look at the stats for the maps for both teams, but they're only really relevant for CLG. And then head-to-head, there's basically nothing. We saw the last time that they played, February 22nd, at the Malmo qualifier, where CLG 2-0'd them, but that wasn't even versus the same roster. So
that's true. That's actually something we didn't even talk about on the desk, really. The fact that, in terms of the organization, because as we've mentioned, the rosters have changed, or the roster of Cloud9 has changed since then, but it was CLG to knock them out of qualifying for that.
Yeah.
So they were unable to attend the last DreamHack in Malmo because CLG beat them. So maybe we've got a little bit of a grudge match on our hands, and also a claim to who is going to be the best team in North America, because we had the discussion earlier, and it's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah, so I was actually talking to Godby last night, picking his brain about how he feels about North America at the time. I was asking him about Mouse in the past and stuff like that, and he's a really well-spoken IGL from Germany's world-renowned, really. And he was just saying that, right now at the NA scene, there's 4 teams that are kind of fighting or trying to get first, right? But there's no clear-cut winner, right? I mean, we're so used to seeing that in North America, but if you remember, going back to the iBuyPower days, they were a team that didn't lose any scrims, and then they didn't lose any matches. They were by far the best, and the only team that would beat them were, the former Cloud9 roster on LAN once in a while. But overall, online, they were really consistent. Right now, we have 4 teams that all want to be the best, and roster changes all over the place. So there's so much room to pave the way because there's no one to take down. But at the same time, who's going to step up? That's what's yet to be seen.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go to the crowd for this one, see what you guys think. So, if you think CLG is going to take it, make some noise. All right, that was pretty good, but I'm thinking it might be a little louder for the next team. If you think Cloud9's going to take it, make some noise. Okay,
you got a little bit louder for Cloud9.
Yeah, that was biased. Sorry, I was
biased.
louder as well. It was the expectation that was set forth for that. All right, well, still not into the pistol round yet, Launders. I wonder what's taking him up there.
The massages, you can't get enough from Jordan. It's just got to feel so good, those hands.
Have you got a massage from him before?
Yeah, he jumped on my back a couple times.
Needs that better vantage point. We're both pretty tall.
We're not going to talk about it too much.
All right, so going on to Cobble.
Now, this is the map where Skadoodle has room to move around, but at the same time, he's kind of blocked off on T side. There's not that many options like we've heard. I think it was Flusha or something talking about how on Cobble, on CT side, you don't have that many options to maybe make informational plays. There might have been Pronax, actually, while he's on content. But that is going to be an issue. He is going to want to move from site to site, but he's basically got to predict the site that they're going to without getting too aggressive, meaning that he's going to have to get multi-frags versus pushes. Ultimately, it will be defaulty, and there might be kills traded, but at the end of the day, Skadoodle's going to have a best spawn towards long A where he can go and open up a pick, or maybe jump up long B plat and try to get a pick, which he's really good at. But after that's over, and say no one's there to give him the pick, what does he do? He's got to figure out how to have an impact.
Yeah, the op battle could be fun to watch because I imagine, we'll actually see both of them, Skadoodle and JDM, post up mostly in the B site, but I'm sure there will be a time when someone has an op on B plat to open it up. But we are finally going into the pistol round right now. It'll be Skadoodle with the defuse kit and the smoke grenade. Everyone else going for armor on the side of a Cloud9, and it's CLG with 4 Kevlars. Cutler does have a smoke for himself.
Yeah, Slummy's actually going to be the A player right now. There's 4 wards here, and the bomb is also staged up. In danger. Nothing already pushed long B, though. Cutler has no idea.
This is going to be a massive position. Cutler has not thrown that smoke yet. He might get caught switching between the pistol and the smoke, but now nothing's starting to back up, and you can actually see he took some damage. I think he might have been spotted. There's nothing with the first kill onto Cutler. That again happening on the B platform. We did look away briefly, but that was to Slemmy, who took some damage at long A and now has fallen back into the site. He's got a support, though, in a player at the van.
The conversion on rounds where you get the first kill is huge. Skadoodle actually gets the second pick and makes it 5v3.
Yeah, so that was Skadoodle at the van coming away with a nice kill, and there's his second as well. Won't let JDM get past the wooden panels. Skadoodle putting some more shots through the board, and it's going to be Hayes that finally goes down. Slummy to get it, but Skadoodle supporting. He was big on that pistol round.
And we see them being pretty calm right now. I mean, that's really important. It's a marathon, not just a sprint, right? They've got 16 rounds, and they know that they haven't won yet on LAN. There's a lot to prove here, and we see Cloud9 being very calm, very composed at this moment. A pistol round is great, but it doesn't mean everything. But that being said, 5 alive, a couple of nice headshots, and really no chance as it looked for CLG. I think these are all really good signs for them.
We did have the discussion on the desk, though, about losing a lot of your anti-eco rounds or losing against the Force Buy, and that can definitely be scary on Cobble when you've got the Tech9 and the armor and a place like Drop Room.
Yeah.
So I imagine we will see Cloud9 play passive around Drop instead of going straight in there and trying to take a fight.
You know, we tried to look at what CLG were going to do in that moment. We saw the bomb with 3 people over towards A, so it was clearly going to be a connector split with Drop. But no one even got out anywhere. Like coming onto the site, everyone got shut down really quickly. CLG already looking a little bit distraught. I mean, either way, they don't have much to worry about. And I think I'd be equally nervous about losing the second round if I was Cloud9, because that is just worth so much more once you have the pistol. You know, mentally, it's so tough on you if you drop the pistol or you get the pistol and then you drop the second round to have to recover from that, because you go from such a high to such a low on a round that you were supposed to win, right? It's not just like converting a rifle round. It's converting a round where you had better guns, you have more utility, you had confidence coming out of the pistol round. So that's not one you can lose.
And then actually, going back to the start of that pistol round, we saw Cutler. He was the one player at the smoke for CLG over on the long B platform. What do you think the play was there? Because there were like 3 at long A. Was he going to throw a smoke over into B, try to make a bit of a fake? Or?
I think he was going to smoke the door out, and then they were going to have 2 come out drop and then go out through connector, and he was just going to run back. Yeah. You know, that door smoke could double as a smoke that makes it seem like they're going B. So it's like, you know, it's not a great fake, but it might just add to their presence, the fact that 2 people are coming drop. And it seems like they got through A relatively unnoticed. So I assume that's where the smoke was going. But I didn't see exactly where he was lining up. That's where I throw my door smoke from.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was pushed against the double wooden boxes and looking that way, so it should have been the door smoke. But of course, nothing pushed up, took him out, and he was already pushed so far up that then he realizes there's not many other people over here. So the rotations come over to A, and Skadoodle, of course, doing a nice job there with the USP, which is essentially an op on a pistol round, right?
Yeah, it is.
Do you agree to that?
Supremely accurate. I mean, it's more accurate than I think many rifles at up to a certain distance, and just not more accurate than the op. So I'd have to agree.
I'm not sure what's happened here. I don't know if that's. I doubt they would have taken a tactical after the very first pistol round, so I'm assuming a bit of a problem. But
well, Hayes looking stoic right now.
Yeah, everyone looking very, very serious.
Hayes looking tired. He's been going through the playbook all night, watching demos, writing novels.
You wrote any novels, Launders?
All the time, yeah.
The bee-hopping adventures?
Yeah.
I'd read that. All right, here we go now into round number 2. We've got 2 FAMAS out there, Bag 7, MP9, and a UMP. So Cloud9 are all over the place now on this anti-eco round, as they will try to make sure CLG don't get too carried away with, what have they gone for? We got 2 Deagles, actually. CZ and Tech9 P250.
Yeah, it looks like we've opted for head armor. Cutler's also got some utility. And we know Cutler's been a very solid player, but if you have any input on the round, then you're typically also the one to spend the most money when you have a strategy that you want to use. And so Cutler might be taking on the half IGL, half support role, which is okay for him. I think he's like a player who's known to play a little bit more slowly, and Shroud's going to take first contact here. Knows someone's dropped down. This doesn't tell him much, but he knows that CLG have drop control room, or drop room control.
There you go. And yeah, they have backed away from that drop room like we suspected. Cloud9, that is. Skadoodle in danger, coming away with the first kill onto Hayes. Taking him down with a headshot. Shroud playing close to the pistols, but doing a lot of damage. He takes down 2. Fugly there on the trade, if you can call it that, with the CZ. Slemmy getting shot from behind. It's actually Cutler from CT Slope to find Skadoodle, but Slemmy making sure it doesn't get out of hand.
So all we saw from CLG was just a slow default into drop control. They wanted to avoid nades and try to get drop control with 2 players, and then it was basically the pistol with the small caveat of instead of sending 3 people through A, sending 3 people through drop. But they made no waves, and they spent a little bit of money. It won't make such a big difference. I think the reason that they bought was almost certainly because they didn't get a plant.
So it looks like we can see from that bird's eye view there, everyone for CLG going into this middle room with just the Glocks. 1 P250 on Tarek. As Skadoodle going to find 2 very, very quick headshots, and it's Tarek with that P250 that does find a kill. Still 4 on 3, and Shroud is looking to play Farming Simulator here with that Nova, trying to get the $900 per kill, but it's not happening for him yet. Slemmy might be the man to watch out for. He can get pressured from slope and from long A, but he's going to be the aggressor in this situation. He'll take them both down as he flicks over onto Fugly, and now we've just got Tarek.
It's really important to hemorrhage your losses on rounds like these because they come back to haunt you when you go into the first rifle, and we see that Cloud9 done so well now that even if they lose the next round, they'll be able to buy, and that's crucial for them. Now Tarek actually has the bomb, and he's moving on to the site. Won't be able to get a plant, however, it seems like, at least.
I mean, 1 kill here more for Tarek, that'd be a very big deal. Limit the growth of that CT economy, as 3 people up is good enough usually. 2 FAMASas in the mag 7, and Tarek making another rotation back over in mid room where he started off the round with that first kill for his side.
Yeah, he's got a lot of HP, and he's clearly controlling rotations right now. The drop player is not anywhere near the door. He has 1 player. Hey, if he knows where he is, he might have a good chance to kill him, but no, nothing. Has the crossfire on lock and takes him down. That's Cloud9 with a quick 3-0.
Let's see if CLG can bounce back now. The buy in the second round was actually somewhat expensive, but then, especially for Cutler with the deagle and the nade, so a little bit more than everyone else. He could be somewhat limited here going into round 3. Just a smoke and a flash, but the important thing is, actually both teams are able to pull out the op here. Skadoodle will have a full buy, JDM with just his op.
You see a nade being lined up from Shroud. Actually does just a little bit of damage, 30 or so to Fugly. And JDM waiting for a mistake to be made at long A. I don't know if this pick will be given to him, but it doesn't look like it. A bit of angle holding from both teams right now. And CLG aren't forfeiting map control, and neither are Cloud9. They're steadfast. We have one at long A pushed up aggressively, but he's got a friend with him in danger. That's Skadoodle.
Yeah, and that's Slemmy getting about as much information as you can safely on Cobble CT's side. And he had that support, so he wasn't going to get flanked.
So this is the thing. CLG actually outpatients them into falling off of A, and we see them moving up towards A right now. So that's a bit of map control won by CLG at the cost of Cutler, I think, taking a hit from Skadoodle. So he's down to 20 HP. He's almost out of the round, but he's still a body right now.
Slemmy, though, I think that was hiding out at one of the nooks there on the CT slope. So he could be in a one-and-done position. Actually, Cutler's pretty low. Where is Cutler holding out right now? He's been brought down to 16 HP already.
And again, it's just, I think it's going to be the battle of 2 really patient teams right now. And we see that Cloud9 aren't really giving them an inch. And because they've actually got a damage advantage, it's not that bad that they gave up forward control at A. It's not the most important place to stand. There's lots of spots on the site that you can defend from. But no, Hayes actually gets that kill on Slemmy, but he has a teammate there, so maybe the rotations won't be so drastic.
And here's Cutler. I think he took his early damage from drop anyways, but now he's been able to get down. Molotov to go out, but it's Tarek and Hayes both finding a kill. Nothing to answer back onto Tarek, and CLG with the man advantage. But look at the clock. There's only 7 seconds. JDM hits a nice shot. Bomb has, I don't know if it's been started to plant. They've just got to survive, but here comes Hayes from behind. And in the nick of time, CLG will take the round.
Wow, they actually do it. And that was a serious battle of patience. Like, you don't typically see that, where map control is taken so seriously and you just have players' eyes glued to the screen, just waiting for mistakes. And we saw CLG actually outpatience Cloud9 into getting some map control at A, and then getting the kill on Slemmy. That was enormous. Even though Cutler took some damage, the fact that CLG got the opening pick, converted that into a round, is really good in their stats.
I was kind of surprised to see Slemmy actually go for that aggressive peek. But here we are on to another round. Cloud9 were able to still get a bit of a buyout, and they'll put nothing up here on the tree boost. So pulling out a big, powerful position early on the B site. Oh, someone got out already. Nothing was blind, but he will realize it, and he's going to take down Tarek from above. He quickly turns to look at drop, but nothing. Will find a second kill. Finally, JDM will take it down, but now it's Stewie, a little off the mark there. He does find the 1 kill now with that USP through the smoke, nearly gets him. 7 bullets left here in the A4, so he's used quite a few bullets already. He knows someone's coming out of drop. There it is, a quick headshot onto Fugly. Cutler for the trade, but he's left in a 1 versus 2 with just a Galil. Plenty of time, and actually it looks like he can get the bomb plant. Oh, wow. No, he's trying to play for the win. He wants the kill, but Skadoodle shows him the op.
With a great flash, too. I mean, he secured that frag. He might have taken a bullet if not for it, but either way, I think Stewie was really important that round, doing all that damage at Broken Wall and then getting that kill on drop. And this is huge. We see Terry actually come out off of this flash because that allows him to wrap the site. But the thing was, he stopped halfway down path and pulled out a smoke. And, nothing when he came to his senses saw that there was a flash that came out. But, I got to check my corners right now.
So just like that, CLG get the 1 round and then into a reset. Not quite in full, as they will still have some potent pistols and that armor. Actually, Fugly even with the Mac 10. So we'll see if he can't go out first, be that bit of a distraction. Maybe Hayes can capitalize with the Deagle after the fact. Shroud, knowing what he's up against, is going to back off of Drop Room. Nothing finds the first kill, but here's Stewie getting him as they come off the broken wall. Actually, I think he's gone up, and Shroud at Rock maybe should have had two, but just finding the one kill there onto JDM.
Wow. You know, it's a really good sign when you see the cameraman, like, spectating people that are getting shot in the back. Like, that's just a really good sign for you when you're on CT side. It shows that there's a lot of coordination. It's not coming down to, you know, one person taking an individual aim duel, but CLG are trying to do these splits, and they're not working out so well. You know, Hayes is already looking very tired, just wiped his face just now, and now it's CLG who, off of that one rifle round, are basically on a double save, so Cloud9 off to a really, really strong start.
So now relegated to just the Glock, so it will be Cutler this time that has the 1P250. Looking for a mistake, and he actually finds it. He's brought down Slemmy, so that will be a rifle over... Actually, no, just the UMP, which is probably why Slemmy went for that informational peek in the first place. But look at Stewie, down to 4 HP.
Yeah, he actually just got double digged by the P250, but if he had known that there were only pistols outside, he almost certainly wouldn't have pushed A. I actually didn't anticipate the double. Oh, he should have actually anticipated the double save. It should have been obvious 4-1, where CLG didn't even do that much damage on their ecos. So that was a bit of a misplay by him, and he paid for it. And Stewie also very low, trying to challenge long B. And now that leaves 2 players in the B site versus 4 angry terrorists.
Although Stewie is low, no one has armor, so if he could just hit the first bullet, they'll be hard-pressed to land one on him, and it's nothing that will find Tarek as Tarek tries to be the one man to push out onto A, but gets shut down. Stewie does find a kill from 4 HP, and it's with the nade onto Hayes, and then around the site, Stewie finding another one. 13 bullets left. Finally, Cutler takes him out, but he's all alone. Shroud waiting for him on the cross, and okay, Shroud doesn't come away with it, but nothing is there.
You know, Stewie's always had really good aim, but what was really interesting to me there is I see that like style that Shroud has with the waggle after he shoots and how he's aiming. It seems like Stewie's taking on a bit of the style that Shroud has, and it's very unique. I mean, there are certain players that aim that way. It's like a really choppy aim, and it seems like they've both adopted similar styles of play. But now we move into a rifle round. We actually have 2 ops to answer for the one of CLG, so that's JDM, who's got a lot of work to do in this round. It's actually Stewie to pick it up on the other side of the map, I think.
Yeah, it is definitely Stewie with the op, and he's going to be boosted up onto the B platform right now, so taking control of this, and one of the most important positions, I think, on the CT side with the op. Allows you to get so much information about what the terrorists are doing on the B platform. As of right now, not very much, but you can see Cutler and also is that Tarek next to him, working into drop. Cutler does get that first headshot onto Shroud. Man advantage once more for CLG.
Yeah, and very important to note, and it's important to remember that, and we'll see who wins this round.
Nothing's going to dish into smoke to make things a little bit more chaotic, to see if they really want to try to push through this, and it looks like Nothing heard something. He starts shooting, and he was dead on. And he will eventually take him down. I think he heard the reload there.
Nothing, infamous for using sound to... Using sound is some of the best in all of CSGO, carrying over from 1.6 where it was so important.
And now Nothing has swung around to the other side of drop. He's hoping they're still looking for him at the main exit. He's gone to the window, and here's Stewie with that op. Does find 1 kill onto Tarek, might even get some more.
Wow. And then re-aggressing drop and getting that frag and leaving JDM all alone. So the man who we thought that was going to open up the round and have to do with the brunt of the work is actually last alive, hasn't taken a shot yet, and probably doesn't even know that there's a second op even on the board. This is a horrible position for CLG to be in. Saving this op is going to be a small consolation prize. We can see the money is very low across the board, but that's another round win for Cloud9. They're looking strong.
They might be able to figure out the double op, right? Because it was Stewie that got both the kills, and are you really going to think that Skadoodle dropped his op to throw it over to Stewie?
I don't think Skadoodle had the op in the round previous. That's why. Did he?
No, he did. He did.
Oh, he did.
I just don't think he was needed. Yeah, so 6-1. Wow, Cloud9. Or 7-1 now. And it's that CT side of Cobble that is always the really scary one that can fall apart. But the fact that Cloud9 have started out this strong, this early on, they've got to be feeling really good right now.
Yeah. No, I actually not sure if there was a pause called by CLG. This is definitely
Seems
the
like
score.
A good time to do it.
This is the score line where you would certainly call a pause, and it might just be to slow it down. It seems like CLG have a game plan, they want to stick to it. It's just not worked. And on that round, we saw a man advantage to CLG, and then all of a sudden everybody dies. Cloud9 obviously did a really good job of re-aggressing in certain areas, and when they re-peaked getting the frags, But CLG is starting to loosen their default now, and so the plan that's supposed to be the safest, right? When you're the most concerned, when you want to just feel out your opponent, right? You only want to throw a couple of jabs, and you don't want to commit to a really strong hook. Then you go into a default and you take it slow and go for map control. But then when you lose in that default, what's your strategy, right? Are you pushed into a fast, aggressive play? That's not something you want to do because you're frantic, right? That's something that you want to throw at them once you've gotten away with your default a few times and you want to change the tempo. So, if they want to go that far into their playbook, they've got an important decision to make as to whether or not it's going to be obvious. And there is actually Kanji standing behind.
Okay, so he is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were a little unsure of that ourselves if he was going to be there. So that could be really helping out with Slemmy now helping out in-game, Kanji behind them. But looking at CLG, we did actually see them outpatient Cloud9 a couple times. That's how they found the man advantage a couple times. On the round that they won, actually, they got that last kill with like a second to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was maybe even a bit lucky.
It has always come close, and another thing to know is because the man advantage has gone to CLG on these rifle rounds, and yet Cloud9's managed to pull them out, or at least come very close, it's because we see the players on the B side, like Stewie, getting 2 or 3 kills, and that's super important, right? For not only for you as a CT to stay alive, but to turn your first kill into a second, and he's done that on really low HP as well, so they're doing an excellent job versus what CLG are kind of approaching as like a slow game.
Yeah, CLG were actually having difficulty getting any control of that long B platform. We've seen them like charge it a couple times, but that was just when they had pistols, and it was Stewie generally there with the submachine gun to take them down. But then Stewie posted with the op, wouldn't let them by. Nothing's been a bit annoying, and Nothing has made big plays for him on top of the tree, and then also around the drop room area in B.
This is like a super overpowered angle from Skadoodle where, oh wow, you almost always get a free pick, but pulls the trigger a little bit too early and has to fall back to the site.
And Skadoodle aware that they left this open, so he's going to be watching that slope. He will take down Cutler, maybe not expecting Hayes to be so close, but Slemmy will help him out. So both the boys on A finding a frag, and now it's 5-3. As JDM, remind everyone, did save that up there in the castle, and then we had some pistol buy-ups for CLG, and JDM with that op. He will take down Nothing. There's still a man down, and then Slemmy and Skadoodle again, both of them getting a kill, and that's a double for each of them.
Oh, looks like Tarek's actually picked up the op now, and he's left alone. And I think his goal right here is just to do a lot of damage, right? There's at least another 7 rounds left in the half, or 6 after this one, and the money can get low really quickly. Like, even if you all have 16K, it's going to dissipate in a matter of 4 rounds in a row, so it still does matter for him to do damage and take the round slowly. He also doesn't want to give up the op, and he does leave it down there. I don't think it's going to matter. They won't pick up a 3rd one. That would be kind of absurd. We got the slow head shake from Kanji. I think he's just too impressed right now that this lineup is going, that everything's going as smoothly as it is.
Yeah, keep in mind, CLG didn't have a lot into that round, but it was the brothers in arms, Skadoodle and Slemmy, getting 3 and 2 kills each over there on A, just locking it down. And here's CLG. This is actually their best-looking rifle round yet in terms of the utility that they have to work with.
Yeah, definitely. Now, money might not be the problem for them, but they have come close in the past. Oh, off of that flash, Slemmy's
how is he still alive?
Stay alive. I think it might have been a team flash as well, so maybe not going as aggressive as they could have in that situation, but either way, that might cost them. CLG now taking forward A control. I mean, Cloud9 know what to expect, and this is the power of a default. The CTs know what to expect, it's just you can't stop it, and at a certain point, there's so much tension built up that the first 1v1 can sometimes be the decider.
And this is a little similar to what we saw from CLG on the pistol round, with 3 people having taken that long A control and the other 2 with the bomb chilling out at B, looking to go drop and then likely split onto the A site. But Skadoodle might have a different plan. They're going to try to peek right into him. Skadoodle sees the elbow, takes the shot, and is now forced off the angle. And speaking of angles, look at Slemmy there. He's up on that boost. 40 seconds to go, and CLG is going to take it the other way, back over to B.
It could have been a precarious spot if he had to fall forward or fall backward, but it seems like he'll be safe today. But the thing is that the rotate back to B is actually the right one. CLG are still committed over 2 towards A. We see Skadoodle on the left side of the site as well. And the aggression is going to have to come out soon. 20 seconds left, but they haven't done a good job baiting out nades.
Yeah, and they're actually getting flashed themselves. There's a nice one onto Stewie, keeping him locked in KFC. Nothing's got a great angle for one man who still has to cross broken wall. Actually, they're coming out of drop. Nothing, not going to let go of mouse one. He finds a double, but here's Tarek answering back, taking down Nothing. 2-on-2, 10 seconds to go. Bomb is being armed up along the wall. Yeah, it's just gone down, and it seems like Skadoodle completely aware. As soon as Tarek peeks out, he's taken down. And now it's just JDM with the op 1 versus 2. And Slemmy's got him from the other side. And that's a closer one, but still, it's Cloud9 with another round. That's 9-1.
Really close. Skadoodle's always having to get these picks where someone gives him like the slightest bit of their shoulder, and he goes 1 for 3 in that round, but it's one that counts in the 2v2. So that was a really good one by him. And another round sealed up, the 2v2s. And at such an important time where CLG had the most money, they just recently took their pause the round before, and that was an eco, so they were putting all their eggs in that one. And come away with no success.
Taking a look at Slummy there, the newest face to Cloud9. I'm sure everyone will be seeing a lot of.
Hair on fleek.
There you go. Very, very important stuff. And looking at Cutler, trying to figure out what him and his team are going to need to do.
And it looks like there's a bit of a tech issue here. So there might be somewhat of a delay. This is a good time to abuse talking, though. No one can stop you from doing that. And the game is still not over, though. And for Cloud9, they know that all of a sudden, after 2 rifle rounds, we might be saving it again if we lose them, and we have to continue to try to dominate. And we see like teams that go up by a large amount of rounds in the early game drop the last couple, even if they have a dominant half overall, because they get a little bit lazy, they get complacent, and also it's probably hard to try to reinvent yourself when you know your static is working so well. You don't want to change things on CT side when everything's going really well, but it is up to you to expect the team that you're playing on T side to try to find a new way to attack you, and so you've got to be one step ahead the whole way through.
And looking back to that last round that CLG just had, we commented at the start that it was the most utility that they've really had on board to work with.
Yeah.
But you said, as they were going out, like they started off slow, they took that long control, but as soon as Skadoodle missed that op shot, some information was given up, they quickly rotated back to B and then tried to take B fast, and they didn't really use that utility.
No,
a couple flashes over, but...
No, actually the point was that they didn't do a good job baiting out the utility of Cloud9.
Yeah,
so
that as well.
It seems like they made like a frantic rotation back to B without that being in the long-term goal of things, right? They could have committed 3 players to A and still planned to go B, but you knew that wasn't really part of the plan, and they were going on the fly because they didn't spend they didn't fake a long B hit, they didn't spend time working drop because they didn't bait out any Molotovs, and we saw the Molotovs be a huge reason that it made it hard for CLG to cross the site. But once again, they did get in, they did bring it to the 2v2, they got the bomb down for once, and they still ended up losing. So there's hope for CLG at B, and we see that even in their default, they go up or they go down, it always comes close. The thing is that, Cloud9 clutching out these rounds, these close rounds, at the end of the day, they've got a maximum of like a 5-round half to look for, or that is CLG.
Yeah, and Cloud9 already got to be very happy on the CT side with the 9 rounds, and there's obviously a chance for a lot more. And it's not even going to be an easy road back for CLG, because even if they do win, we already saw them get reset once. It could just happen again and make the rest of the half even easier for Cloud9 moving forward.
I honestly see a lot of potential in the way that CLG are playing their T side, but I'm so much more interested to see what Cloud9's T side is going to look like, just because we haven't seen it before.
Might not get to see very much of it if it continues on like this.
Yeah, potentially. I don't see the second half being easy, even if CLG get a few rounds. That might be enough to make it a long game, but Cloud9 are looking to take this one.
Another shot there of Irakanji.
The man you don't see very often.
All right, still waiting on some issues to be sorted. So again, more time for the teams to talk about what's, well, for Cloud9 probably to talk about what is working for them, but definitely for CLG to go back to the drawing board. And I agree wholeheartedly with the idea that they need to have a bit more of a presence at B to force out some of that utility.
Yeah.
Like, they had to run through so many Molotovs. They got flashed in the face as well.
And they've picked B when there's only 3 people there. The issue is that all those players are apt to deal with the rush that's about to hit them, even if it comes unexpectedly. Like, throwing a couple of counter nades. Like, a Molotov is basically, a smoke that does damage, in the sense that even though it doesn't block your vision off completely, it stops you from going through it. It discourages you from going through it. It acts even better in certain ways when you know a push is coming, because it's coming down to the last 20 seconds. And the times that the pushes work in the last 20 seconds is when you've gotten so much map control, you have a man advantage, and your opponents don't know what site you're going to pick. But in that situation, I think in recent times we see that not be the case. They're not able to catch Cloud9 off guard.
And I wonder if JDM with the op, we saw him, I guess actually on last round as well, where he started off with the op at long A, trying to get that initial pick onto Skadoodle.
Yeah.
Did you think it might come down to JDM trying to find the opening kill for CLG?
Yeah, like on the couple of rounds, as you mentioned, like he's been alive last, right? And,
yeah.
It might be that it might appear as though JDM is moving too slowly. But at the same time, maybe his teammates are dying too quickly and not giving him a chance to work the map the way that he wants to. It's hard to say from our perspective, but I'd say that, yeah, if he's not having impact, the bottom line is he's got to play to the tempo of his teammates as opposed to the other way around. Or there just has to be a leadership decision that says, you know, you guys got to slow it down so JDM has more time to work his pick safely, because it's Cloud9 to be slightly aggressive, but they're mainly just holding angles and expecting these pushes. So you can't expect JDM to, you know, jump peek things and take those kinds of risks when it would be better off for him to just go slowly and just hope his teammates stay alive to support him.
And I think something could be said for some of the members of CLG just stepping up and quite simply hitting their shots, because when we saw them come out of drop, especially on that last round, like, I don't think nothing really should have got those 2 kills.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying, like multi-kills coming out on the B side as well, and that's rounds where CLG get the first opening frag. So yeah, everyone just putting in work right now. And you know, Slemmy's hitting headshots too, and we saw his previous LAN, like I think it was, I don't know if it was just online results or LAN mixed into that, but overall has not performed really well, and is a very involved IGL, so it's no surprise. The more structured and serious and dense of a workload you put on your team, the harder it is to perform. And here we are back into the game, 9-1 for Cloud9, and CLG on a bye without a rifle. Whoa, that's a really aggressive ult, and he gets away with the frag.
Cutler's going to make sure he doesn't get all the way back to safety, though. He will take him down, and now nothing working around the smoke. He's been so good in the smoke and chaos into this B side, even coming away with another dink. So it's a 2-on-2, but a big HP advantage over to Cloud9. Now Shroud with the frag onto Fugly, hiding out behind the rock. You can see the utility being thrown quite desperately there by Hayes, and Shroud will take him.
And that's what we're talking about, right? Like, even though you have a lead, if you come off a pause and your static defense has been working, it's really up to you to try to reinvent yourself. You know, at that point, if he didn't maybe make that aggressive push, the CT defensive is calcified too much, and it becomes obvious what's going to happen. CLG might be too comfortable getting drop control, too comfortable getting A control, and so they want to throw them through those kinds of loops.
And then also, we still have the double op out for Cloud9. CLG going to need to find a way to solve that puzzle. Maybe Tarek with the Tech 9 can do it if he could just get in close. And we actually have a heavy presence for CLG outside in T middle, waiting for a push, waiting for any sort of aggression from Cloud9. But you can see where they are postured up here in A. That's just not going to happen.
You know, this is where Cloud9 have smell blood completely. They know that CLG are going to start forcing up, and it's not unjustified. We see so low utility from CLG, like Tarek literally has a Tech 9 and 1 flash with his head armor. But they might expect to buy just every single round, because the half they're looking for is just not good enough at this point.
Oh, and Skadoodle going to hit Cutler in the foot. And look at this, man, the bait and switch. Slummy playing in the corner here, and Skadoodle's just going to go for one more setup on this angle. They've actually had a rotation over. It's going to need to watch CT slope. And has he tagged up another? And Slummy's going to find them both. He'll turn and find one more. Shroud already in the sight. I don't think this player is going to be aware. And oh, Hayes does actually find that kill. That must have been a sick headshot from his perspective. He will go down, though. Nothing coming over the balcony to find him. And Tarek left in a 1 versus 2. We're trying desperately there to get into a 1 versus 1. He's brought Stewie 2K down to 2 HP.
Ooh, I think he was just spotted crossing onto the site. That might allow Cloud9 to try to move in. I think they're going to do it together. Flash goes out. Tarek in a 1v2. He's got both players blind, but he doesn't know it. And this could easily just be a spray down. But no, Stewie actually with the off frag and 2 HP finds the kill and the defuse, and now Cloud9 are up 11-1. Can you believe it?
You kind of thought on low HP they might just go out the same way and get completely sprayed down, but they split up and the op shot lands. So another close one, but it's still nothing on the board there.
Yeah, that's a tough round to lose. And I think nothing got the really important frag there from Heaven, right? It was like it was a 2v2 situation. It could have been a 2v1 in the favor of Cloud or CLG. And it does come down to those moments. Sometimes it's just that 1v1 in that situation where you could have an afterplan situation in a 2v1 where if you don't get the kill, you just lose the round. And it put Tarek in a really tough spot.
I actually thought Shroud, because it seemed like he was on the broken wall over at A and no one knew about it, was going to be in the round-winning position, but he got nothing. Hayes destroyed him, but here we are, going for this boost again. Stewie 2K not going to back down.
Stewie nodding in agreement.
Holy peek it. He might actually end up peeking it on the fallback, and it looks like he'll take Fugly out with an op bullet to the knee. JDM, though, has found nothing with his op. Shroud going to back off to Rock, and that's going to be the back B site control given up. But Shroud peeking out does find Tarek. And Slemmy holding around in danger, maybe not quite aware that Cutler has gone up long A. But it won't matter as Slemmy falls back completely.
Yeah. Oh, man advantage, but no, he gets caught. Bomb spotted crossing, and now Skadoodle going to throw a nade. Will that do any damage? No, it's not. It's a little bit too far off. Hayes moving up to the site with his teammate. Now, they might have the ability to plant the bomb, but will they win the after plant? 2v3.
Well, they got the door smoked off. Oh no, the smoke is going to miss up onto the balcony, so someone from Cloud9 can still easily peek this. Or maybe it was all the plan and they want them to think they can, and Cutler's there underneath waiting for them. Still man advantage for Cloud9. They've got quite a few flashes, but that's it. And double ops, that's actually not the best weaponry you're going to want going for the retake. Although look at that. One of the operators going sneaky peeky, and that was Stewie around the van. Then Shroud gets hazed off on the site. And that's 12-1 right now for Cloud9.
Sick retake. You know, this is just another example of a round that could have easily gone the way of CLG. But beyond the structure, beyond the the 5-man setups out of spawn, it just comes down to your good individual play and your good your good communication and your ability to tether off your teammates in very tense situations. And a missed smoke, and then Cutler getting killed by getting shot in the side by Stewie. It was just a really good retake. That was slow. We saw Heaven go really slowly as well, and I think that put CLG off kilter a bit.
And I really like what we saw that round from Stewie, right? He's just making these really manly plays with this op. He goes up in the counter boost with an op 2 rounds in a row, and then he is the man that sneaks in first with an op around the van on the retake there, coming away with the kill. So he's playing great. Oh, Terra gonna take a nade to the noggin. That one had to hurt, but he does get into a very good spot.
Oh man, this is super interesting. Like, they threw the smoke down and passed just so Terra could get out, and because they don't know what he's doing, they don't actually know if he's here or not. Will he get the frag though? It looks like he can. In the mess of the confusion, Cloud9 find the kill, nothing with the headshot. Makes it a 5v4, and a shot is missed by, it looks like Skadoodle, and now Hayes gets the better of him.
Kind of surprising. I guess Skadoodle peeks out, sees 3. Can be hard to pick a target. They still got man advantage. Cutler is one and done. It's nothing that finds the trade. Slemmy playing at the wood panels. He'll bring down Fugly, and it's just JDM. Nothing will get the best of him. It's pure domination here from Cloud9.
Unreal. The early to mid round, I think I have to give the edge to CLG, but right now it's a 50-45 fight for me. Ultimately, in terms of putting rounds on the board, which is all that matters, especially this late in the half, Cloud9 are just showing that they aren't shaken at all. CLG on another force buy, and this is just a round that is even more favored for Cloud9 just because they know exactly how much money they have, and that's not a lot.
And that's Fugly. It looks like taking damage through the Cobblestones here on Cobble. Slemmy will get the kill onto JDM, and it is the last round of the half. CLG put everything they had into this one in terms of the money, but they're getting nothing out of it. Everyone hitting the shot. Skadoodle with a nice one, and then Slemmy to find Fugly once more. Look how happy Slemmy looks.
Slemmy doing extremely good on land right now. Considering his performance list, it doesn't seem to be at all a problem. I hope that's Powerade. Much better than Gatorade.
Whoa.
Objective opinion here.
I don't know if you can say that.
I mean, they only have 1 round. What else? What else can explain
Yeah,
it?
I mean, really, there isn't much to say positively for CLG with just the 1 round. And even that 1 round was so close down to the wire.
Yeah.
It was the kill with like 1 second left. I mean, I guess they had the positional advantage, so they'd worked a little bit better in the early, mid, and then even into the late round to have that advantage. But
yeah, that's a good point.
wow, and a quick start here into the second half. We've got Cloud9 winning and Crowd9 chanting away.
Well played.
A lot of utility there for nothing. Same thing for Slemmy, so actually just 3 Kevlars on the side of Cloud9 as Fugly will take some early damage and back off. He had a bit more of an aggressive spot on B, but he's given it up.
Now, this is a lose-lose for us if you wanted to see C9's T side, because if they just start losing, then we see it's just a bad T side. But if they win, we don't get to see much of how they do it. And, there's Skadoodle get the opening pick again. 5v4 on the pistol, so huge. We saw him be so dominant last half. And that's almost 100 damage done to Hayes. Wow, there it is, just to clean him up.
Man, Hayes got instantly gooshed. At that range was crazy, and then Stewie's able to clean him up as he tries to make the rotation to get maybe over into the back of the A site, but the terrorists are there now. It's Cloud9 who have planted the bombs. Skadoodle still hiding out on the slope. Slemmy as well. The man's trying to come through the murder hole there, but being denied.
Man, this after plan 4v3. Though Fugly makes it a little different now. Slemmy answers back with his frag of his own, but Cutler is right there to trade, and now Shroud in a 1v2 actually gets another kill. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
What is this?
Those final 2 frags from Shroud. Looks like we will get to see them again here with the P250 as well on the pistol round. Taking out Tarek and Cutler. So that's 15-1. Possibly the last round here.
Not a round you should lose. I mean, 15-1. They have, they know, like CLG have to buy what they can here. There's no option to save last round of the game for them if they lose. And Cloud9 have basically glorified anti-eco on their rounds here, even though CLG are spending a little bit more money than they would if they were completely saving.
Well, it looks like I think that was Tarek up on the tree boost over in B, but that's just a 5-7. That could be an awkward range for that pistol. Cutler at a good range here for the Mag 7 playing out in drop room. But Cloud9 still playing it slow. 3 players outside in T middle. Maybe waiting for some over-aggression here from CLG.
You know, we got the C9 chat coming out. Fans are happy. The boys in blue. Wait. The boys in light blue.
Like every team's in blue these days. I don't know if that one helps. Fugly playing in danger, and who's going to go in? Looks like it might be Slummy first, leading the charge with the Galil. Or will it be Stewie? That makes more sense. Going in with the Neon Rider. That Mac 10 finding the first kill onto Fugly. They're up on the boost. Will it be checked? It isn't. JDM finds one. Slummy taking some damage, being forced to fall back, and another quick kill.
Oh, I think it's happening. All right. Yanko, let's disappear. You guys, Helium London.
Podcast.
We're making
do
history.
some casting, Alex. Come on.
Oh, it's been ages since I did some casting.
Try it.
Should we do some
Try it.
play-by-play?
Yes.
All right, okay, cool. So CLG are rocking some pistols. I'm stealing the caster's jobs now for a second. We've got a scout on Cutler, no armor though, and he's gonna be trying to see.
Okay, that's enough. Let the real guys.
There we go. Okay, that was enough. Helium, you teach me how it's done as we go to the last round.
I wanted some Yanko casting in there, but we will have Shroud getting the first kill onto Cutlers. So arguably things starting off even better on this round for Cloud9 than it did on round 17 previously.
You know, what's striking is that Stewie's actually, even though they know this is the last round, still decided to get a Mac 10. It just goes to show you how strong that weapon actually is, though, even versus head armor. Wow, whoa!
That's a scout peek there from Tarek. Nothing trying to avenge his fallen comrade there, and another one actually trying to jump up on behalf of a CLG. And that was going to be Fugly who jumped up. He'll get the kill onto Nothing. So we got, is this another 3-on-3 in round 17?
Never forget it, it's a 3v3. No matter how many times you play out this round, it'll always end up in a 3v3. But this time, it's positionally CLG. Oh, Fugly making a little bit of noise there, dropping in a scout, and he does manage to fall off, however. The lone person in B, mind you. Cloud9 also congregating towards the same site. I think they expect to see drop being forfeited. You might forfeit a drop in a 5v5. You almost certainly will in a 3v3 situation. And now Stewie moves out with the Mac 10 and gets his opening kill. Looks for a second. JDM, though, shuts it down at A.
Stewie actually only, again, finding one kill with his Mac 10. JDM here with the 5-7 will find Slummy. Now it's all going to be on Skadoodle with the AK 1 versus 2. He'll find JDM. Defenseless, shooting him down from the back. And that's a bomb plant. 1 versus 1. And there is a little bit of utility for Skadoodle. How can he use a Molotov in this situation? He won't. He peeks out. He hits the shot. Wow. And there it is, 16-1. It took a while for us to get there. But, yeah, the game was quick, but obviously some delays.
Congratulations to Cloud9. They had an epic performance. Their first map on LAN with this roster. I think they had a lot to prove. They probably had some LAN jitters coming into it. Slemmy, of all people, was probably extremely nervous because he knows that all these fans are watching, and there are so many Cloud9 fans in the audience. So a great showing by him. Great A-holds. We didn't get the CT side, but that's okay. I think Cloud9 won't be too upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, they were so dominant. It was a while ago now because of what happened, but the pistol round was crazy for Cloud9. They were just hitting all of their shots all over the place. Even Hayes, like, it seemed that things were just kind of going Cloud9's way at a certain point. Like Hayes getting instantly gooshed holding the door and then getting killed on the jump off at the balcony. There were just so many parts of this map where I think CLG, even some rounds had really good positions, but some chaos just confused them, and they went down. Like the one round where Tarek, back in the first half, remember he got off that B platform, pushed all the way to rectangle behind the smokes, had possibly a chance to kill like 3 different people, but ended up with nothing, which was a little odd. But we actually got Smix with an interview for one of the players from Cloud9.
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations, Jordan. I think when people were looking at this matchup, I don't think anyone would have guessed that it would have ended in a 16-1 victory. I mean, even if people were cheering for you guys, 16-1 is incredibly dominant.
Yeah, I mean, CLG is a good team. Obviously, that scoreline's a little bit skewed. Best of one is exactly what you just saw. Could have easily been a closer game if the pistols maybe were exchanged. Getting both pistols, though, with that momentum in a BO1 helps a lot.
Well, let's talk about your team in general. A lot of changes have been happening recently. Most notably, Slemmy is now your new in-game leader, and you've passed on that responsibility. So speak to it and what it's like from your perspective on passing that over to Slemmy, and what it's like, I guess, playing with him now.
Well, I feel like, regardless of if we struggled when I went to IGL, it actually was good for me because I've played for so long, and that's like the one role I've never really got to do. So for me, it gave me kind of a new appreciation for the game from a different perspective, and to know the shot caller's got a lot out on his shoulders. Slemmy has been around the scene for a long time, but he never kind of broke through. But he's someone who's got a really controlled attitude towards the game and a high IQ towards the game. So he's pretty calm, cool, and collected, and that's kind of what we needed to kind of harness all of our firepower that we got. And yeah, it's been going pretty well. We just need to play more. Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah, no, speaking of firepower, obviously last year when you guys were in your golden period and getting to all those finals, Shroud and Skadoodle in particular were showing up incredibly. And speaking of Skadoodle, a lot of people have been noting the fact that he's been not only doing really well, he's been putting in a lot of hours. People have been looking at his Steam account. He has like 100+ hours in the past 2 weeks or something like that. So can you speak to that a little bit?
I mean, Tyler always wants to win. Nothing's ever changed, I guess. Maybe at one point last summer, we played like 8 tournaments in a row, and maybe when we got home, we were chilling out a bit. We all want to win. Tyler's a competitor. We're always going to try to be ready for every tournament, and yeah, we're ready to go.
All right, and your reward, obviously, for winning here is to face Luminosity, a very, very good team. I'm sure you know major champions, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts headed into that matchup? That fan believes in you.
Yeah, I mean, I've played these guys a long time. Obviously, they're a very fierce team right now, very, very fluent with their play. We're just going to have to get in their face and show them that we're not scared too much and put up a good fight.
All right. Well, congratulations again, Jordan. We need to do our traditional handshake. All right, I messed it up. Yes. So you messed it up.
Either way, it's going to be a GIF. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jordan, and congratulations again to Cloud9. They will be moving on to face Luminosity, and of course, in our first battle of NA teams, it looks like Cloud9 is victorious.
Indeed, they're probably going to be riding a Cloud9, a 16-1. Not something we would have foreseen. Yanko's disappointed in that one.
Proof is in the pudding.
We already, yeah. I've been teaching him English expressions. Have you heard proof is in the pudding before?
Yeah,
exactly.
I have no idea what that means.
Of course they have.
I don't know why it is. I have never learned why it is, but yeah.
There's proof in the pudding, okay?
Makes sense
we started our post-match already, but we're going to kind of just jump back onto that discussion, where basically we sat there saying CLG never got into it, and a huge part of that, as Jordan outlined over on the stage with Smix, pistol rounds. Again, neither of them going their way, and immediately you just see that this kind of the possibility for a comeback just taken away. Had they picked up the pistol, there would certainly be an abundance of more belief for CLG in something. But I mean, surely that game ended in the first half, Yanko.
But definitely, I mean, you couldn't imagine, if they won pistol, they did win the first gun round, so they would be up probably 5-0. So, but you can't just speculate what could have been. We should focus on what actually happened. Is that CLG couldn't win gun rounds at all. Yes, they did lose a lot of rounds because they were on an eco, but you are supposed to have, especially them, we were talking about how structured of a team they are, how Cobble is probably one of their best maps, if not their best map, and you should have a go-to strategy that's, okay, when we do this is going to win us the round, right? You need to have those strategies you can fall back on and then work from that. At times, it seemed that, I would have wished maybe if they went for more A splits. It seems like something they could exploit, because C9 was for the most of that half running a double AWP setup with Stewie towards the B bomb side and Skadoodle towards A. And after some time, it looked like then they were going for those individual plays we talked about, right? They were going, let's try JDM just tries to peek without any flashes, tries to get the entry kill. Then if he doesn't do that, then you're left in a 4v5 situation without a clear game plan. And that's where C9 got the chance to pick them apart, basically.
I mean, still, just to put it into kind of context, a huge victory for Cloud9, just in terms of, comfort, right? Slemmy, no doubt, his hands were probably physically shaking just coming into that, knowing that there was so much on the line for him.
The thing is, on City side Cobble, it really is most of the time just comes down to individual performances of the players, right?
Okay.
And the mini team play of players working on the same site, maybe flashing for a peak or something like that. It's not a map like Cash, for example, where on the city side you can go for all this map control, push A main, push mid, go towards aggressive towards B halls, push squeaky. You don't have that kind of ability on Cobble. You can go towards A halls, be a bit aggressive there, maybe boost up towards drop and play aggressively on platform, but you don't really gain much map control there. It still takes you a lot of time to rotate towards the other bomb site. So it comes down to having a good setup, working well together, and no matter how cliche it sounds, just being on point and hitting your shots. And definitely it's what C9 managed to do in this game.
Most notably, I mean, Nothing and Slemmy. Nothing hitting shots is something that I do just want to address quite quickly, because the age-old story of Jordan Nothing Gilbert is the guy has such a high ceiling. Like when he actually is on form, he is an incredibly strong player. However, he's rarely seen at that level. And you're nodding because it's just always been the story. When was the last time we saw, vintage Nothing? Has it been a long time coming, Launders?
To be honest, I think a lot of players that have played for that long, shouldn't be expected to be the top 1 or 2 fraggers in general. From what I've seen, Nothing adds a lot to the atmosphere of the team, and then also in part does his job. I think if he sits around the 17 frag mark at the end of a long game, that should be okay if everybody's performing the way they should, right? We talk about Shroud and Skadoodle as the ones who need to show up, and right, just because Nothing has the most experience, it's you don't expect Neo on Virtus Pro to be the one to get 30 frags every game. Yeah, he's capable of it, and he's really smart, and he might do that sometimes, but you need Bialy and Snacks to show up, otherwise your team's not performing the way it should be, right? And it's usually the older, more experienced players that are also more comfortable playing support, right? They don't have anything left to prove. They've had a great career, a lot to show for it, and so maybe they don't have that pride associated with being a fresh young talent.
I think Markelov is also a good example of that.
Yeah.
He was one of the best players in the world towards the end of the 1.6 era, superstar player, amazing with the AWP, amazing with rifles, but in flip side, he's the support player, right? He's not the one who's in the spotlight. Yes, he has a great game here and there where he explodes, but it mostly comes down to winning clutches and playing for his teammates.
I love that we found this. I hadn't kind of discussed that story before, that I do like the idea of just, the veteran, that you play the game for as long as you do, new roles open up and you become better at, the supportive role. Awesome stuff. Any closing thoughts from you, Joey? You've just talked about Tarek on a tree for about 15 minutes. Anything else you want to add?
That was rough. Sorry, everybody, for that one. Well, I think Nothing might have said it himself, right? He took on that new IGL role, and it kind of opened up, brought in his perspective of Counter-Strike, gave him some, new things to look out for, and then now that weight was kind of lifted off his shoulder, and that could be given over to Slemmy or Irakanji, maybe he is back to fragging. Maybe it is going to be nothing but headshots once again.
I mean, it shows. I think it shows just how difficult it is to be an in-game leader, because first he brought in a coach to help him out, then they had to bring a whole new player. He's like, nope, not doing this. I just want to play, boys. Find someone to do this for me, please.
I mean, he said it was the only thing he hadn't tried, so he tried it and worked out it wasn't for him. I don't like salmon, but I tried it anyway. And that's just me. That's the only kind of parallel I can draw between me and a professional CS player. Anyway, I think that's it. That's about it for CLG Cloud9. Let's have a quick look at how the groups do look now with the new addition, the new North American success, Cloud9 16-1. A crazy result to be seeing so early in the tournament. You can see CLG are going to have to try and work things out versus Splice, a game that'll be interesting to watch a little later on.
And interestingly enough, CLG has struggled against Splice. They lost the BO1 at the major qualifier, which allows Splice to qualify for that tournament. So who knows?
I mean, exactly. There's a lot of history and a lot of
the only thing is it's
politics.
a best of 3, right? Yeah, the loser is the best of 3, so yeah, it makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult to kind of be able to pick up a surprise result in a best of 3. Of course, sometimes it's hard to predict the score. I'll tell you what else enables you to predict the score is an app you can grab on your phone. It's called the Score eSports application, and what it enables you to do is check out your stats, your maps, the reviews, the whole shebang, anything esports related, not even just CSGO, anything. Let's not say anything, because there's definitely not everything, but check out your Dota 2 and your League of Legends there
Clash Royale.
Well. Clash Royale, oh man, I'm not going to bring that up, but yeah, current addiction. Anyway, time for us to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be bringing you more CS action. Cloud9 utterly decimate the boys from Counter Logic Gaming 16-1. Just 17 rounds of play, and now we're going to be taking 25 minutes to catch our breath before we dive into another game. See you then.